All right, so this video is for any soccer player that's trying to make it to the next level. I get a lot of questions around how did you get so far? How did you get to do this? How did you do that? How did you make it pro? So here are 10 ways that if you're a soccer player and you want to make it to the next level that you can take and apply to your own playbook. So number one, availability versus ability. You have to understand the combination of the two, because you can have all the ability in the world, but if you're not available, so if you're not taking care of your body, if you're not fit to last 90 minutes in a game, if you're not showing up on time, if you're not available to perform in these games to showcase your ability, then it doesn't matter. Coaches want to be able to trust their players when they put them on the field that they're going to be able to perform at a high level consistently, and they're not going to be injured, they're not going to be fatigued. They're taking care of the right things so that they show up. For student athletes, that's also making sure you're taking care of your grades. What does that look like? Number two, your first touch. Your first touch is very important. It's probably one of the most important things as it pertains to soccer. Your first touch can get you in trouble or it can get you out of trouble. So what does that look like? Juggling, ball wall drills, a small-sided futsal, 5v2 rondos, whatever it is to help you craft your first touch to master that, depending on what position you are, doesn't matter. That's very, very important. Number three, play with older folks or play with tougher competition. If you're playing rec, sometimes try to play select. If you're playing select, play comp. Always try to figure out a way to reach a higher level. High tide lifts all boats, and you got to put yourself in uncomfortable situations to eventually get comfortable. When I was younger, I played in men's league games. I was fortunate enough to play on youth national teams, so I was always playing like above a higher level. But when I came back to Sacramento and I wasn't consistently at residency because I had to move back to Sacramento, I was finding ways to play against older competition, people that were bigger, stronger, faster, so that I would have to think a lot quicker, which would help me play people my age group. So when I was playing for my national teams, I was already getting that level of competition or something similar because I was continually finding ways to develop. Number four, watching film. You gotta study. If you're not a fan of watching film, then I would say play FIFA. That's indirectly helping you understand different ways to navigate in a game, and just understanding different ways to think about the game from a different perspective. People might say it's just playing video games or it's just watching, but you can indirectly or subconsciously learn about the game by doing those two things. I would say number five is working on your deficiencies. So one big thing that I did growing up, when I was 12, I didn't really know how to juggle like that. I was pretty good technically, but I wasn't like efficient. So I worked on juggling before and after practice. As I continue to develop, I'm right-footed, so I would work on my left foot. I moved from center mid to center back, so I would work on my aerial game. So always continually working on your deficiencies is a big component to getting better and hopefully making it to the next level. While you're working on your deficiencies, make sure you double down on what you're good at. There's nothing wrong to be a specialist. If you're good at free kicks, make sure you master that. If you're good at breaking up plays, make sure you master that. So double down on what you're good at, but also work on your deficiencies so you can develop an all-round game. Number six, and this is something that it doesn't really matter about skill. It's all about effort. Making sure your fitness is up to par. And whether you like running or not, I'm not a fan of running. I hate running actually, but I always made sure I was fit enough to compete at the highest level. And if I wasn't, then I would have to do the extra work. I think that is something that can't be taken away. When I say fitness, I'm not saying you have to be the fastest or the strongest or the quickest, but you have to be able to last the 90 minutes of a game, 90 plus minutes of a game. If it requires a sprint back in the 89th minute to recover for your team, you got to be able to do that and not be gassed. Those are the little things that make all the difference when it comes to making it to that next level. Number seven, your tactical awareness, understanding your position and how your position affects the formation that you're in consideration of who you're playing against, how they're playing, understanding where you are on the field, how to create angles of support, how to angle yourself to position yourself is very important. It allows players to really take it to the next level, because at some point everyone's going to be just as fast, everyone's going to be just as strong. But if you have the tactical awareness to position yourself to help you stay ahead of the game, that will make all the difference. Number 8, and this one's a key one that often gets looked over: your reputation and your mannerisms. Your mannerisms on the field leave either a positive review or a negative review. And a lot of times people don't understand how bad mannerisms affect the overall aspect of their opportunity as a player. So if you get a bad pass and you're waving your hands, or if you're like constantly brushing people off, if you're like head down, sluggish, that doesn't go over well. Scouts, coaches will see that, and they will just make a note of it. And they make enough note of it, it leads to a bad taste in people's mouth. And reputation as well. You know, the soccer world is very, very small, and people do their due diligence before they sign you on to their team. So if your reputation is poor, that's going to go a long way. All right, number 9, make an impact. So you always have to make an impact on the field. You want to be remembered in some way, shape, or form. So whether it's, that's the right winger, he was getting crosses down the line, he must have had 8 crosses this game. Or if it's this D mid, oh my goodness, he got a yellow card, he was breaking up plays, he was making it tough to play against in the middle. Center back, or he won all his aerial duels, or all her aerial duels, or they were just so loud, they were communicating the whole time. You have to make an impact, and it's not just goals and assists. You have to make an impact. You have to find a way to be remembered, or you will be easily forgotten about. There's plenty of soccer players. All soccer players have a chance to do something impactful, and coaches and scouts are consistently looking at players that can make a difference. What are you bringing to the team? If I bring you on the team, what can I tell the coach, or what can I rely on you to do? So for me, that was breaking up plays and transitioning defense to offense. That was something that I was pretty good at, and something that I made sure that I was going to be consistent at over the course of my career. And lastly, number 10 is sacrifice. You know, as an athlete, you got to be willing to sacrifice. If you're trying to make it to the next level, expect there to be a lot of sacrifices that you have to make. And to add to that, you have to be coachable. You know, people want to be able to give directions one time and have that player understand it. Obviously, if you have questions, definitely ask questions, but you have to be coachable. You have to be able to understand what it is to make sacrifices, and then go from there. Hopefully that's helpful. I'm going to be continuing to make more content around what it was like, as a professional athlete, tips that you can use to become a professional athlete or reach a higher level, and then go from there. That's it. I'm Oli Kugo. Make sure you ask any questions in the description, the comments, and I'll get back to y'all as well.